Hello, and welcome to Of the People. I'm Robert Chernin with
Ericka Redic.
And we are back for yet another episode of news, politics, and, as you'll find out, our large dose of irreverence.
And
Ericka,
we need a lot of it today, I think. We need a lot of irreverence today.
there is so much going on, I don't know where to start. Folks, stay with us, because not only are we going to talk about more government election interference, this segment, we are going to delve into, finally, I've tried not to, presidential politics. The fields are getting large. We're going to jump into Ericka, you're going to love this one, the far-right radicalization pyramid, right? Which, if you haven't heard, it's egregious, frankly, but that'll be segment two. And then we're going back to our old friends in China who are at it again.
Oh.
But in any event, let's jump right into all of this.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, what's the agency? CISA. Those are the ones that that monitor all the computers for the government. We started with the. Let's tee this up. We started with the Twitter files,
right?
And if you remember, when Elon Musk bought Twitter, he disclosed that the government had a way to not only get into Twitter but adjust the algorithm.
Correct.
Remember that?
Yeah, they got a back door. They got their own back door, basically, to add little tags to people.
Right, to be able to censor what is out there. So it now turns out that under a FOIA Act, the Media Research Council has requested this information about the censorship during the 2020 election. And is it CISA or CISA, which is, again, I got to, you can never pronounce these things properly, right? It's the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, and with it, the Election Integrity Partnership, the EIP.
Oh, God.
Right? Both of which are... So they're now under scrutiny for everything that they censored during the 2020 election. And guess what the Biden administration is doing?
What?
They refuse to disclose that information.
What?
Oh, come on. Are you really surprised?
No, but if it's a
really
FOIA
surprised?
request, I thought you had to comply with a FOIA. Freedom of information, right? That was the whole thing with the Patriot Act, or whatever. Like, Freedom of Information Act. If we ask the government for information, they have to give it to us.
Well, first of all, you would tie a 1,000,000-pound ball and chain on their leg, and then they'd tell you to walk from here to there, so that you'll get it. But you and I may be dead when you get
It'll
it.
all be redacted.
I just, and it'll all be redacted, right? But I just find it interesting. Not interesting is the wrong word, but here's another example of government censorship, and we're yet supposed to believe in. Look, I'm not questioning the 2020 election and saying it was false, but you got to say, where are the answers?
Well,
because now, now the government, the Biden administration, the Department of Justice actually reached out to, I want to say it was Washington University, who was conducting the study. Let's see, the Daily Caller News Foundation, right?
Okay.
Reaches out to, where's my favorite? There it is. Reaches out to the University of Washington Center for Information Informed Public. And what they asked, the DOJ has now asked them, well, what information are you going to release based on this request? And we want to see it before you release it, because we may have to go to court to block its release.
What?
I'm not.
Are you? Oh my God. And then they wonder why no one has faith in our elections.
Right.
This is, you would think that a administration who seems to care so much about, not having a repeat of 2020 and that you would want to be as transparent as possible so that the American people can trust their elections, rather than continue to feel like things are being kept from them, right?
Ericka, what planet are you from?
Oh my God, Mars, apparently.
No, wait a minute. Do you really think, given everything that's in the news, that you think that the Biden administration and the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security really cares what you think,
No.
whether or not the elections had integrity or not?
No.
They care about winning. And if, let's just make an assumption, and folks, we're making an assumption here. Let's just make an assumption that there was some irregularities, right? Let's call them irregularities. because they just found another whole box of absentee ballot stuff in some warehouse in Michigan again, by the way.
Are you serious?
And there was another one. Yeah, and then they just had somebody testify, a postal worker, that he took several 100,000 ballots and hid them in a warehouse. But again, that's conspiracy theory.
Okay.
It's Robert, the conspiracy theorist.
All right.
But let's just assume, for argument's sake, that there was some irregularities in the 2020 election, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's assume that as a result of those irregularities, the Biden administration, or President Biden, got elected. Now, I still want to understand how he got the most votes in history hiding in his basement. There's no way you're going to get me to believe that. He got more votes than Barack Obama. He got more votes than Donald Trump in 2016. Now, I understand this. The whole ballot harvesting,
mail-in ballots
certainly would increase that number. But look at the numbers, folks. It's just not possible.
It's wild.
So here you have another example of the government censoring. And by the way, so Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook or Meta or whatever he's called, also just came out and gave an interview that said that the government came to them during the 2020 elections and forced them essentially to censor information under the belief that the information was false, i.e. the government was telling them it was false. And it turns out that a lot of that information that they censored, and there were over 18 million pieces of information they censored in 2020, turns out to be true. Most of those coming from Dr. Fauci, of course.
Well, that's what, I was listening to this really great article talking about pre-bunking, okay? There's this...
Pre-bunk? Wait. Is that like sleeping on normal beds before you pre-bunk? What?
No, it's like debunking before it happens. So basically...
pre-bunking.
Pre-bunking. So basically what the government does is go in, right? What they did with this Zuckerberg, that I think that was on the Joe Rogan podcast, he was talking about that. So basically...
I'll tell you in a second. Keep talking.
The government goes in and starts basically kind of say, hey, be on the lookout. You should be really worried about this. So they're basically like trying to debunk the argument or conversation before it even happens, putting doubt in the minds of listeners, viewers, whomever it is. So that's what the government did. It was pre-bunking, essentially, the social media platforms, and they just went along with it. They were like, okay, we'll just believe whatever you say.
Which just goes to show you, everything you see in a movie will one day become a reality. Do you remember Minority Report with Tom Cruise?
Yes.
Pre-crime? So we're going to arrest you not for the crimes you've committed, but we're going to arrest you because you're about to commit a crime. So we're going to get to you before you commit a crime. Well, same thing here. So we're going to pre-bunk. But, this does go back to Stalin, right? Stalin said, who votes doesn't matter. Who counts the votes matters. It's the same thing here. It's this it's the Bakersfield massacre in The Running Man. It's the same thing where they're manipulating data. And then when you factor in AI, right, and all, right?
Oh, no.
I mean, come on. When you factor all of this in, I think, there's an island in the South Pacific that is not currently colonized. It's called the Pitcairn Islands. I think we should all go there and start over.
Oh, is that for real? For real?
With Pitcairn Islands? You mean Mutiny on the Bounty?
Wait.
The Pitcairn Islands.
Are you making this up? There's a place that's not colonized?
Well, they all died out. So if you really want to get into the movie stuff, started with, I think Clark Gable was the first one. Marlon Brando did it, and a couple other people. I think Mel Gibson. But basically, that was the HMS Bounty. They go to bring the breadfruit plants from Tahiti back to England.
Oh, wow.
See, remember, I watch movies with dead people. You watch movies with people who are alive. So Fletcher Christian, the first mate, mutinies, right?
All right.
And then when the British fleet comes to get him in Tahiti after Captain Bligh makes probably the greatest water crossing in a rowboat from Tahiti with a crew of, I think, 4 people back to England. They come to get him. He flees to the Pitcairn Islands, which is at that point uninhabited. There's a whole, colonization, but then they all die out. So the bottom line is it's vacant. And if you don't like what's happening here, folks, we should all, at least a bunch of us, go there.
Try again.
And start again.
Oh, my God. That's crazy. I like it.
I know.
All right.
I know. But speaking of starting again, we are obviously in the thick of the presidential primary season.
Ooh.
So at last count,
Yeah, how many?
there are 11 Republican contenders.
Oh my God. It's going to be 2016 all over again.
You think? But there are 3 Democratic contenders. So there's, what's her name? Marianne Williamson, I think her name is. She's like a new age guru or something.
Yep, I've
so
read
we can all
one
like
of her
hold
books.
hands in a circle and ohm and,
Yep,
and make the country better that way.
Yep.
Right. The interesting one to me, and we'll talk about him in segment 3, is RFK.
Yep.
But so I have a test for you. There are 11 people running for president, the Republican side. Name them. Now, and by the way, Trump and DeSantis. Okay, I'll give you.
Okay. Hold on. Vivek Ramaswamy.
And excuse me. And okay, that's number 3.
Nikki Haley.
Number 4.
Chris Christie. Tim Scott.
Number 5. Right.
Oh God. Was the senator from Florida? I know he was toying with it. Has he jumped in yet? The other Scott.
Rick Scott from Florida is not jumping in. He has said no. Chris Sununu, my governor in New Hampshire, has said no, that he's not running.
Okay.
Ted Cruz is not running.
Wait, so what did I get? Like 5 or 6? 11? Who else is there?
Oh, come on now. Come on. Come. You can do better than that. You know Chris Christie's running,
yeah,
which, by the way, is
from New
going to make a
Jersey.
very, as one Jersey boy to another, which, by the way, I have to say something. This is a New Hampshire radio show.
Yeah.
We're going to get some of these guys on to interview because no one is going to win the New Hampshire nomination without appearing on Of the People.
That's
What do you
right.
think about that?
I love that. I think you're right. I think that we are the premier up and coming radio show and podcast in New Hampshire. Political talk show. Who wouldn't want to come on and talk to us? We're fabulous and delightful. Let's be real. Okay.
So I got one for you.
okay.
So Larry Elder is running, and I love Larry Elder. He's obviously a disciple of Thomas Sowell.
Why?
But I don't know. I would love to get. So I think we're going to be at a meeting with him.
Okay.
We're going to see if we can get him on the show.
All right.
I don't. And by the way, folks, we have a prediction coming up later at the end of this segment. Stay tuned for that.
Ooh.
But why
I mean,
he's running,
like
I don't.
Larry, but
I think he's great. Asa Hutchinson, former governor of Arkansas.
oh.
Right. And then you have Mike Pence, the former vice president.
Oh,
It's amazing you didn't-
right. Oh, of course. Yep.
Just jumped in. Doug Burgum, who is the North Dakota governor. And I got one for you. Who the heck is Perry Johnson?
Who? I haven't even heard of Doug Berman. Wait, Doug Berman, isn't he the executive producer of Wait, Don't Tell Me? Doug Berman is a producer for NPR. What was the name?
Was I slurring my words? Burgum. B-U-R-G-U-M. Burgum. Governor,
Who is this Perry person?
I don't. Some businessman. He's self-funding, right? Look, anytime you self-fund, you can do that.
Okay.
But look, it's going to be interesting, and obviously, this is against the backdrop of Trump being now indicted for classified information, which we can go down that rabbit hole if you want to. But at the end of the day, what I find interesting, just as a sidebar on that on the whole concept or notion of him being indicted.
Yeah.
So all these hundreds of boxes were found in different Biden residences and in the garage by the Corvette and at the Penn Institute, right? All of that. And what most people don't realize, now, look, we'll find out, did Trump declassify this information or didn't he? But the vice president doesn't have that authority.
No authority.
He was hiding all this information as vice president, and yet where's the... So it's not like President Biden did this.
Right. And
this was when he was vice president under Obama.
Or senator. Some of it was from when he was a senator, which means he doesn't even have the right to take it out of anywhere or outside of a skiff. So
right. You know how people say there are two sets of laws? There's really 3 sets of laws. There's one set of laws that applies to Donald Trump. There's one set of laws that applies to Democrats, and then there's a set of laws that apply to the
everybody
rest of us.
else.
Everybody else. I just want to know what those are.
But it would be nice to know the rules so we could all play by them. I'm just saying. I think that would be fair.
Okay, so who's the Republican nominee? You got a prediction?
Oh God, you mean in the end after the primaries?
Yeah, who's the nominee? Is it Trump?
I
know, I'm forcing you on the record.
Oh God, Donald Trump's popularity remains, and he is able to pick up the populist middle. And I think that the way that people see him being gone after is going to make people defend him and stick up for him. I appreciated what he did as president. He had a lot of really good policies. But if Donald Trump is the nominee, the one thing I just want to make sure is that this race is still about the American people, about American exceptionalism and making America great again, not about vengeance for Donald Trump. And that's my only concern about him being the nominee. If we got the first couple years of Trump presidency, I will take it. Again, I just don't want it to be the vengeance of Donald Trump. But I do want
it'll be the vengeance of the deep state if Trump gets elected. By the way, here's my theory. Now we're going to end with my prediction.
Okay.
When we get the high sign from Lord Benjamin that we got to go make money. But until we get there, here's what's really going on. They being the Democrats or the deep state,
yeah,
they want Trump.
They
as the
do.
Nominee. They
absolutely
just want
do.
They want a damaged Donald Trump. So they're not doing this to prevent him from running, and they want him to run.
Right. I'm in agreement with that. And again, as long as it's about America, as long as it can be about America, what I care about most, here's what I care about. I want whoever is the nominee to be sincere about dismantling the deep state. And that was one of the things that I think was disappointing about the Donald Trump presidency. He said he wanted to drain the swamp. That swamp did not get drained. In fact, he brought some more swamp in there with him. Now, I think one of the benefits was he really exposed it. I mean, he really exposed the deep state. And so that's what I care about. Whoever the nominee is needs to be, I was going to say something I don't know if I'm allowed to say on the radio. They have to be very strong, willing to go after these people.
They have to have cojones.
Can I say that?
Well, Bill Maher can say cojones.
It needs to be. I want somebody.
I got it.
Yeah.
We're getting the high sign. We're getting the high sign, and I want to end on this prediction. My prediction, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. Joe Biden will not be the Democratic nominee.
Really?
For president.
All right.
You can take that to the bank. You heard it of the people. And I'm Robert Chernin with Ericka Redic. We got to go make some money. Stay tuned. We're going to be back with the far-right pyramid of radicalization. And if you think it's a joke, folks, stay tuned. It's deadly serious. We'll be right back.